Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&R Insider 24 update channel. Nick decides to call in the big guns. The Young and the Restless Daily YAPP is pleased to have you. Your after-program ponderings, for a quick and by that, I mean you're already halfway done recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. What happened on The Young and the Restless? Nicholas Newman is played by Joshua Morrow on The Young and the Restless. Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, learned something from his sojourn to Nice, France, last summer when he was kept prisoner by Keynes, Billy Flynn, henchman, which could be saving his life right now. He told Sharon Case, that he's going to talk to his dad, Victor, Eric Braden, about bringing some security to Los Angeles that can help protect the family. Smart. We are not necessarily 100% in agreement with Nick's decision not to inform his family other than Sharon that Matt Clark, Roger Howarth, is back and doing bad things. Even though Matt's actions in the past were bad enough, he is now the top suspect in Noah's, Lucas Adams, accident. It does make sense that Nick doesn't want to worry his entire family, but it's even smarter of him to bring in some security. Nick's got plenty of muscle, but he can't always count on Sharon to be there to distract the bouncer at the shadow room the next time he needs to get by Sienna and Mitch's hired muscle. The Newmans are rich. Why not take advantage of some of that wealth to ensure the safety of their Los Angeles venture? Too often, we see characters on soaps forget the past, and they repeat mistakes. Nick's a smart guy to enlist the aid of security to make sure that his family, most of which is in Los Angeles right now, remains safe. Based on today's episode of The Young and the Restless, that security team can't get there fast enough. Want more details? We got you. The best comprehensive Y&R recaps are available online at Soap Central. You can even read all of them from more than 30 years ago. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers, too. And no matter what you do this weekend, don't forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs. Hey, admit it, we're funny, in the closest thing we can get to being a watching party without actually being a show. The best part is that we want to know if you agree with us or disagree with us. Comment down below, as always. Holden finally opens up to Claire about Audra, Noah demands answers about his accident, Sienna answers more questions about the accident, and Nick punches Mitch in the face on the Wednesday, November 5th episode of The Young and the Restless. The events that transpired on The Young and the Restless. Mitch and Detective Burrow on The Young and the Restless. Image, CBS. Nick rushed to the hospital to be reunited with Noah, and they shared how much they missed each other. He asked how Noah's pain level was, but Sharon told him that the painkillers have alleviated most of it. They tried comforting Noah, who was growing a bit concerned about the extent of his injuries. Any time he has inquired about the accident itself, nobody was fully forthcoming. Nick realized that Noah had no recollection of the incident when he asked if anyone would ever tell him what had happened. Nick said the good news was that he didn't try to jump off a roof, but informed him it was an accident. They hoped Noah could shed light on the night of the accident, and unfortunately, he kept drawing blanks. He at least knew he was in Los Angeles, but so far that was the extent of his recall ability. He apologized for dragging them out to California because of his accident. Nick stressed that his recovery was the only thing that mattered. Sharon iterated the same sentiment and said there was no place they'd rather be. The doctor gave information about Noah's condition to Nikki and Victoria, and the family was most concerned about the apparent memory loss. The doctor explained how memory absence was common in the type of injury Noah sustained. Victoria knew Nick must be relieved that his son is doing better, but Sharon expressed concern for Noah's vulnerability. He was racked with guilt because his family uprooted their lives to be by his side. Nikki wanted to give Victor the good news, and she told Sharon that everything with Noah would be fine. Nick took off once Nikki and Victoria stepped into the hospital room. He needed to return to the shadow room and confront Mitch to see for himself if he was really the presumed dead Matt Clark. Sharon spoke to him outside of the room and asked if it had to be now. Nick did the right thing by seeing Noah first, but he had to meet Matt in person first. She offered to tell Victoria and Nikki about it, but that would involve Victor, which Nick wasn't ready for. They didn't know if Matt caused the accident, but Tay knew he wanted to lure them to Los Angeles to send them a message. Nick needed to convince Victor to send some of his security to California without revealing Matt's resurrection to him. Nick wanted to let Matt know that coming back into their lives was the worst thing he could have done. Nikki and Victoria returned to the waiting room, and Victoria immediately assumed Nick went to dig deeper into the accident. Everyone was unsettled by the strange string of events that led up to it. Victoria thought it was strange how little the police were doing to solve things. It was odd that after the initial encounter, law enforcement had not checked in on Noah at all. Nikki encouraged them all to pray that nobody had a long-standing grudge against Noah. They wanted Noah to return to Genoa City for his rehabilitation. They picked up on Sharon's fear that someone was after Noah. Since it was written all over her face, Nikki begged her to tell everyone she knew. She downplayed her terror, giving the impression that it was more of a fear of the unknown than a real threat. The situation between Claire and Holden came up, and although Victoria didn't agree with everything, she wanted Claire to spread her wings. At the hotel room, Claire daydreamed about when she made love to Holden, but she was interrupted by his knock at the door. She said she had many favorite parts of their time in Los Angeles, but it was time to go home, despite his pleas for her to stay. Since Audra placed a high value on honesty, he made the decision to disclose his relationship with her. He hoped for more, but he didn't want it to be because he kept secrets if they didn't go any further. Holden wanted to divulge everything about what they did. Holden was a bartender at the Shadow Room, and everything was going well until he got mixed up with Audra, who was a regular at the club. Audra was with another man at the club during that time. She was fully immersed in her artistry. Holden said the attention Audra got from the man wasn't at all what she had planned. Claire wasn't surprised that something went off the rails with Audra, given how she's always looking to cut corners and work an angle. The man tried to get Audra drunk, but she did her best to dodge his physical advantages. She told him she saw someone she recognized at the club, but he wouldn't let her leave his side. Holden noticed it from across the bar, and he stepped in to cut the man off, but he threatened to retaliate and have Mitch fire him. Claire thought this boiled down to Audra wanting two men to fight over her like circus animals, but Holden indicated there was a lot more to it than that. She asked if Audra walked away, but Holden replied, "Not until she did something that almost ruined both of our lives." Holden distracted the man as Audra lifted his wallet and stepped away. Holden ran through the type of guys he encountered at the bar, and he explained how breaking someone like Audra was the thing the man got off on. Holden didn't stand for that type of behavior, but when the man noticed Audra had bolted, he took off after her. Audra showed up at the club the next day, a complete and total mess from what happened with the man. The man not only knew his wallet was missing, but he had his address, and he sent men after her. Audra denied taking it, and that got the men off her back a little bit, but she sought out Holden to return the wallet. Audra denied taking anything out of it, but Holden learned she wasn't entirely forthcoming. After a quick search through his wallet, the man noticed something had been lifted. A cashier's check for $500,000 was missing. Claire questioned why someone would have that kind of money on them, but it was all a power trip for the man. He assumed Holden was in on some con with Audra and lost it on him. Holden was too deeply entrenched in Audra's con, and once Mitch got involved, he claimed it was all a misunderstanding. Claire was enraged at Audra's audacity for putting him in that position. The man wanted Audra to pay, but he never saw her again until he arrived in Genoa City, and they were back in each other's orbit. Claire asked if Audra had ever admitted to taking the money since it wasn't clear. Holden assumed since she lived it up in London after that and had changed her name. Claire wanted to find out if the man still ran the gallery and asked Holden, but he kept his identity a secret. Holden eventually received a gift from Audra totaling $100,000, which made him a co-conspirator in the crime. The detective character played by Matt Cohen said to Mitch at the Shadow Room, "I guess things didn't turn out the way you planned, did they?" However, Mitch motioned for him to keep quiet. He told Mitch it wasn't a social call and demanded to know what the plan of action was. Sienna arrived in the midst of their conversation, and Mitch told her he was a detective on the case of Noah's accident. Sienna told him that Nick and Sharon had also asked questions about the accident to piece together what had happened that night. Sienna wasn't sure what Noah did after exiting the club, which led the detective to ask how Nick's parents knew anything about the crash since they aren't from Los Angeles. Sienna explained how she phoned Noah, and Nick picked up. Mitch was unaware that Sienna had Noah's number, but she claimed it was because they both wanted to do business with him. The detective wondered when Sienna left the club the night of the accident, and she took offense at an implication that she was involved in the crash. Sienna denied giving anything to confess, but she was eager to help. Nick arrived in the middle of the detective's interrogation of Sienna and hid behind a wall. After the detective left, Mitch had some of his own questions for Sienna, but before they could get into it, Nick ran into the bar and punched Mitch Matt in the face. Sienna looked on in horror. Catch all new episodes of The Young and the Restless weekdays on CBS and Paramount+.